All right, welcome in. Happy Sunday. This is the San Francisco 49ers Report. I'm Chase Sr. Hope all of you out there have had a fantastic weekend. Pretty important part of the Niners offseason schedule begins tomorrow. 49ers OTAs, otherwise known as offseason team activities, start on Monday. So on today's show, we're going to take a look at the top players to watch this week. First, though, want to hear from you down in the comment section right now. Interested to see where you're at here. Which player are you most excited to hear about this week from OTAs in Santa Clara? Opportunity to see who's made improvements, also where the new rookies fit in, and where some of these undrafted free agents might have a glimmer of hope to try to crack this roster. The 49ers offseason schedule, as well as their OTA workouts, May 22nd and the 23rd, couple days break. They come back in for OTAs on May 25th, 2 more days on May 30th and 31st, June 2nd, June 5 and 6, June 8th, and then mandatory minicamp where all players are expected to be there will take place from June 13th to June 15th. We're going to continue to cover every single offseason storyline from minicamp, OTAs, training camp, into the regular season. That's why you subscribe to the show, year-round coverage of the San Francisco 49ers. So, with that, let's take a look at the top players to watch. I think by far and away the most interesting player to monitor this week is going to be Trey Lance. Brock Purdy still recovering from that elbow injury, and Trey Lance should have the opportunity to get every single rep with the first-team offense. If he splits it with Sam Darnold, that's pretty interesting. But here's an opportunity for Trey Lance to either sink or swim. He has the chance to prove to the 49ers that they were right in moving 3 picks to move up to number 3 to take him in 2021. And he's auditioning for this team right now. He's also, in a way, auditioning for other teams across the NFL, where if the 49ers believe that Brock Purdy, Sam Darnold are good enough in that quarterback room and they can shop Trey Lance to a quarterback-needy team if an injury happens, if somebody fails to perform, they could trade Trey Lance potentially to that destination to get some either good draft capital back or player capital. I'm excited to see what Trey Lance is able to do. We talked about this on Friday. This offseason, he worked with Jeff Christensen, who is Patrick Mahomes' throwing coach, and Christensen had said that Lance had a major breakthrough with his mechanics. Usually for Christensen, who's worked with 200 professional and college quarterbacks, it doesn't take long for him to figure out a mechanical flaw. He said with Lance, it was very complex. It took him 4 days to figure out what was wrong. And once he figured it out, it led to better accuracy, better spin on the football, most importantly, perhaps, no arm soreness. So, Trey Lance, your opportunity to really ball out here. And if he does, and this offense is at this unbelievable clip, given the potential that he has, and that's what you can't rule out, it's potential. And right now, it's really all we've seen is potential. Then how can they sit him for Brock Purdy if Trey Lance finally rounds into form and looks like that quarterback that the Niners envisioned him being back when they drafted him in 2021? Sticking at that quarterback position, another player to watch, Sam Darnold. Has all of the physical tools, 6'4", really good size, awesome athleticism, bazooka for an arm. He has had no stability so far in his NFL career, and I'd say he had no stability at USC either because Clay Helton was in over his skis. He goes to the Jets. He goes to the Carolina Panthers. He's had like 4 head coaches and 5 offensive coordinators to start his career. Now, working with Kyle Shanahan, Brian Griese, who, let's give credit to, did a good job with Brock Purdy last year and Jimmy Garoppolo. Can Sam Darnold finally put it all together? And can Kyle Shanahan maximize him like he's maximized a C.J. Beathard, a Nick Mullins, and a Brock Purdy? And if Lance struggles and Sam Darnold rises up to the occasion here, is Sam Darnold going to be the team starting quarterback in Week 1 on the road against the Pittsburgh Steelers if Brock Purdy is still coming back from that elbow injury and they don't want to rush him back? So Sam Darnold, Trey Lance going to be exchanging reps, I imagine, with that first-team offense. which quarterback is going to spin it. Who starts at right tackle? That's really the big looming question outside of who starts at quarterback. Colton McKivitz is my guess as of right now. I was shocked that the Niners didn't try to address this position in free agency. Once Mike McGlinchey left, they didn't fulfill that need at right tackle in the NFL draft. So Colton McKivitz, I think, slides in there. Jaylon Moore is going to be in the mix as well. He can pretty much play any position along that offensive line outside of center. Nick Zackelk, I imagine, is also going to be given some opportunities at right tackle as well. And then some of the younger players too. Who starts at slot corner and nickel corner? A couple of good, intriguing players here in the mix. We saw some flashes from Samuel Womack last year in his rookie season at Toledo. He was an interception machine, and those instinctual plays that he made to either break up passes or intercept passes can serve you really well at the NFL level, and we saw that at moments throughout his rookie campaign, whether it be in the regular season or in the preseason. Isaiah Oliver is a guy who I think is going to replace Jimmy Ward. He's the one player who intercepted Jimmy Garoppolo when the Niners got dusted by the Atlanta Falcons last year. He's a really solid player, and I think that he's going to surprise a lot of people. Could go down as one of the most underrated signings for San Francisco in free agency. And then how about the rookie, Darrell Luter Jr., pro-ready player, I believe, went to South Alabama, like Samuel Womack, an instinctual player who has a knack for making plays on the football. And that's arguably the most important thing for a cornerback to be able to do. Has good length, good size, not afraid to get physical and jam you at the line of scrimmage. I want to see how his game translates at the NFL level during OTA's first opportunity to see what he can do. To the safety position. Will Ji'Ayir Brown and can Ji'Ayir Brown start opposite of Talanoa Hufanga? Look, the 49ers seem to identify these players who at the college level might not be insane specimens of an athlete, right? Talanoa Hufanga wasn't at USC, but he's a damn good football player because he's smart, heady, and has a knack for making instinctual plays. The same can be said for Ji'Ayir Brown, who at rookie minicamp, according to all accounts, looks to have a pro body already. So can Brown beat out Deshaun Gibson at safety? Whether he starts or Gibson starts at safety, the Niners' safety options are pretty good this year. Will Deebo Samuel, if he participates, be in better shape? It's called offseason team activities. They're kind of voluntary, but I believe that Deebo Samuel should be there. Deebo Samuel signed that huge deal last offseason. During training camp, it's a monster contract extension, which starts to kick in here soon. And last year, he was banged up, and he did not live up to expectations after signing that lofty deal. It was actually Brandon Ayuk, who was this team's best wide receiver last year, both from the look of it and from a production standpoint. If Deebo can get back to that all-pro level that we saw in 2021, with Ayuk continuing his ascent and George Kittle really finding a groove with Brock Purdy the latter half of the season, and you have Christian McCaffrey, this offense could be one of the best in the NFL once again. I'm also intrigued by the wide receiver 3 battle after Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk. Juwan Jennings, Danny Gray, Ray McCloud in the mix. Ronnie Bell, the rookie, might get some opportunities here, but he's a little bit slight. I think he's going to be battling for a roster spot. I like him. I think he can crack the roster deep onto that wide receiver depth chart. But most importantly, can Danny Gray, as a former third-round pick out of SMU, make that sizable leap? In the preseason, we saw him catch that long touchdown from Trey Lance. He has vertical speed. Barely did anything in the regular season, though. Juwan Jennings, money on some of those money downs. We're talking third down, fourth down. That's how I like to phrase it. He's obviously really good. And then Ray McCloud, very good special teams player, one of the best kick and punt returners in the NFL, but he also had some moments last year as a gadget guy within that offense. Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw are locked in as 2 of the starting linebackers among the 3 starting linebackers, but who will be the 3rd starting linebacker? Marcelino McCrary-Ball has the inside track, and when he's played, albeit small sample size, most of it coming in the preseason, I think he's played well. At Indiana, he had a defensive back background, and the Niners love these versatile types of players who are sometimes cornerbacks, and then they can shift them into that linebacker spot because the athleticism is within them. They just have to add some size, add some muscle, and then they can end up being really solid players. So Marcelino McCrary-Ball, he had that interception off Jordan Love in the preseason last year. I do think that he has the inside track, but could one of the rookies pop in there? A D. Winters or a Jalen Graham, kind of like what Azeez Al-Shaair and Dre Greenlaw were able to do as young players. I also want to see how Drake Jackson looks. To start the year, he certainly had some positive plays, positive moments, quarterback pressures, quarterback sacks. Then Kyle Shanahan after the season was asked, hey, why did he not play? Why was he a healthy scratch at the back end of the year a couple of times? And he said, you know what? From a stamina standpoint, he just kind of ran out of gas. You play anywhere between 12, 13 college games, and then you shift to an NFL schedule, which is 3 preseason games, 17 regular season games, and then you're playing a playoff slate, ideally. And Drake Jackson wore down a little bit. Right now, though, he's the starting defensive end opposite of Nick Bosa. And to make Bosa's job easier, he has to step up. And he has to have a big sophomore campaign. Bosa was the Defensive Player of the Year, 18.5 sacks last year, nearly broke the franchise record, but no sacks the last month, and I think that was because he got a little bit tired from all the double teams. And then along the defensive line, Javon Hargrave, Javon Kinlaw at defensive tackle, and where will Eric Armstead be? Is he going to play edge, defensive end? Is he going to play defensive tackle? And then does Javon Kinlaw become a backup for this football team? You already know Hargrave is going to start. He's your prized possession in free agency, 4-year, $84 million contract, coming off an 11-sack campaign. The last couple of years, he's been the third best defensive tackle in the game, in my opinion, after Chris Jones, then Aaron Donald. I think Jones is better than Aaron Donald right now, but Kinlaw's been right behind those two guys. And as a pass rusher at nose tackle, defensive tackle, he's one of the best in the NFL. I do want to see the rotation along that defensive line. And sticking with this defense, Steve Wilks. Are there going to be any changes? He said we might blitz a little bit more. We might play a little bit more press man. So I'm excited to see what type of wrinkles he throws in there. Of course, it's going to be OTAs, no contact or anything. But from a schematic standpoint, how does he change the identity of the defense from the DeMeco Ryans defense to the Steve Wilks defense? Lastly, it's the kicker battle, baby, because kickers are people too. Jake Moody, Zane Gonzalez. They're going neck and neck to be this team's kicker because Robbie Gould is out of here, right? You drafted Jake Moody in the 3rd round. Any scenario in which Jake Moody does not make this team, it's a disaster. If you used a 3rd-round pick on a kicker, you better hope that he's going to be a very good kicker for you, win games in the regular season, and in the playoffs for the next 5-10 years. And if he doesn't make the team, that is a wasted selection at a premium slot in the 3rd round where you can get long-term starters at more important positions. So the pressure is on him. The pressure is also on the San Francisco 49ers. So once again, let me know a player that you are most excited to hear about this week. We'll be covering this, giving you some takeaways as well. We'll do winners and losers too. But for the meantime, let me know, heading into OTAs, which player you're excited to hear about. Wanted to hop on the mic from the crib because I just wanted to talk some Niners football, and I'm addicted to the grind. So show some love, subscribe to the show, like the video. If you're a real one, give me a real one down below. That means you made it to the end of the video. Have a good rest of your Sunday, and if you're watching this on Monday, hope your week's off to a good start as well.